Hi and welcome. Welcome to today's webinar. This is Julia Katsivo. I'm very excited to have you here with me because social media is something that I love to talk about, to explore, to use, to make use of. It's a very exciting phenomena that has really taken over the world. Social media has really taken over the way we think, the way we interact with each other, and the things that we do, and especially in the business space. I believe that the internet has made business an equal opportunity for all. Whereas there was a time when you had to go into physical locations or you needed to know very specific experts, what I found the internet has done is it's opened up the world for people to interact and to actually start businesses and to flourish with their businesses. And so this is a pretty exciting time for business people or people who want to start businesses or even share their hobbies with the world. So this is going to be a pretty exciting time that we're going to spend here together. And I'm going to do my best to cover everything in the time that we have together and also leave some room for questions and for you to just ask, your most pressing question, the things that you want answered in this session. So again, I'm Julia Katsivo, and I am a business coach. I help entrepreneurs to refine their niche and to tighten up their marketing, because if you don't know who your ideal clients are, your marketing plan will fail. And what I've found to be true is that social media is one of the best ways to market at a price point that's next to nothing. It's going to give you reach, it's going to help you grow, but it must be used in a way that makes sense. So you're in the right place if you're interested in learning how to use social media to grow your business. So I started off with social media around 2008, 2009. And I started off with two markets, so Twitter and Facebook. And the reason for this is that I was looking at the kind of businesses that I wanted to develop and grow. And I knew that social media was going to play a really, really big role in that it was going to be a big part of my plan. And this was based on how technology was going, on how the landscape was shaping up to be. And, at that time, to be honest with you, I wasn't very excited. I knew Facebook because of family and friends, but the idea of putting my business out on social media, of promoting myself, of telling the world this is what I do, please sign up or call me or buy. It was terrifying. And I know it is for a lot of you, but it was terrifying, so the people that I had in my network were family and friends. And the last thing I wanted was to peddle to them. And that's what it felt like. It felt like peddling, and it felt like begging, and it felt like just shameless, And these are all the different thoughts and belief systems that I had picked up over the years since childhood around selling and around promoting and around exposing myself in such a big way. But I knew that I had to learn social media and become really good friends with it. And it does help that I love all things technology. So I quickly took to it, and I have been using social media ever since then. And I have been using it successfully to start and grow my business. And so I want to share with you some of the things that will work if you put them into practice, and some things to avoid that I learned the hard way that you could perhaps, not do if you want to save yourself trauma. So you're in the right place if you want to grow your business and you want to use social media and you want to use it productively. Also, if you have been using social media and maybe, you don't mind using it, but you're not quite seeing results that make sense to you, and it's now becoming that thing that you dread to use. Maybe you've spent advertising dollars on social media and you haven't quite seen a return on the investment that you've made, Or maybe you're looking at what others are doing on social media and you wish you had that kind of reach or breadth, or that you have that kind of confidence to do some of the things that they do. So we're going to look at all of that and really just get into the heart of it. And this is where I'd like to start. So the thing about social media is that we have so many platforms and they're all free. They're all free. And they're popping up every other day or every day, or they're putting on new features, new ways to keep you engaged and to keep you on their platform, that it can be quite inundating. And what I've noticed is that a lot of people will go ahead and sign up for all the different social media platforms and post on all of them, because they are sort of running on this idea that if they post everywhere, people will come. Post everywhere and they'll come. It's sort of like that idea of build it and they'll come. But instead, you find yourself stretched out too thin and you're not gaining traction on any one medium, and it's very frustrating. So out of all the different social media platforms, the question then is, what is the best platform to use for your business? How can you create greater impact with the platforms that you choose? And how do you measure, in a business sense, the return on investment? Because even though you're not paying for advertising dollars, even if you're using free scheduling systems for your posts, you're still taking time out of your day, or you're still paying someone to post. So you want to make sure that everything that you're doing in terms of social media, which is social media marketing or social marketing, has a return on investment. So the first problem that I see often happen is that, people will post on all the different media. And so you have people posting on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Snapchat, Twitter, Pinterest, name it. And it's just this mishmash of things that have been put together, or repetition. With that said, I do use several platforms, and I'm going to show you the reasoning behind them, and also some of the magic that this has created for me, so that you can see that there is a method to the madness. It's not just a matter of signing up on the most popular sites and then posting there. You need to have a bit of strategy in that, and also have a really good indication of what you're doing and why. What is your intention? Now, what I've noticed with the people who will post everywhere, kind of hoping that their clients will come to them, is that they haven't really quite thought through on their strategy, on how the social media plays in their whole marketing strategy, and what the results are supposed to be in terms of revenue. What do I mean by this? Well, social media is just one part of your marketing plan. A really great marketing plan is going to have social media on it, but it's also going to have other channels. And these different channels combined with social media is what is going to give you your best results. Now, there's some people who are successful only on social media, and that's great. The only thing that I would say with that is we have to be careful of the fact that we don't own any of these channels. And as an example, for the last 2 weeks, Facebook would not permit me to post anything that had to do with an event that I was organizing that took place on Saturday. So they would allow any other posts to be seen and shared and commented and liked. But when it came to posts about my event, they blocked them, so that I was the only one who could see them. And I got the same response from some of the joint venture partners that I was using. My posts to do with the event were not showing up on their channels as well. And this is Facebook and Instagram, which makes sense because Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same party. So if you decide that social media is where you're getting all of your business and it works for you, that's great. But what happens when they change the algorithms and they do that on a regular basis? What happens when they decide to just close your account for no good reason and it'll take you some time to bring it up? And that's why it's important to just make sure that you have a marketing strategy that is not solely dependent on social media, but can use social media so that you get the results that you want. So the thing about posting everywhere and posting everything, which is what I see on a regular basis, and also with the clients that I work out with on a one-on-one basis, as well as the hundreds of small business people that I mentor on a yearly basis, is this. When I look at the social media presence, when I look at what you're posting, when I look at what you're interacting with, I don't know enough about what you do, and more importantly, what you want me to do. So, for example, we'll have someone who is in fitness and is going to be posting some videos on Instagram, maybe YouTube, some on Facebook, and that's great. But the person may be kind of hoping that by virtue of posting the videos, there's the inference that, hey, I am a trainer. If you need help, contact me. But that may not be evident. And so, one of the things that you may want to think about if you're already posting on social media is, what is your intention? Is it clear? And do people know exactly what you do and what you want them to do? One of the ways to know that this is a problem area for you is when you meet people and they still ask you what you do or exactly how you do what you do. And what this means is that we have a miscommunication and misunderstanding in the way that you are perceived. And social media is a great, great functioning tool for perception. This is actually the avenue in which you can showcase who you are, what you're about, and the magic that you bring into the world so that you can attract the right kind of people. The other thing that is so common is an incorrect use of each social media platform. And this is a mistake that most people make because we're going into something that we have very little knowledge of, or we don't know how to apply the information that we have with our current businesses. So as an example, when I started out, I was coming from sort of that academic background where my posts were like 3,000 to 5,000 words long. And I didn't know how to make them any shorter because for me, the idea of doing that meant that I wasn't relaying key information based on the topics that I was writing on. So it was, again, a journey to learn the post lengths for blog posts, for journals, for publications, and for social media. And to learn the sweet spot between getting people's attention, which, scientifically we know that it's less than 7 seconds, getting their attention, keeping them hooked onto what it is that I was providing, and having them use the call to action. And the call to action is what you want people to do with the information you provided them at the end of that information. So, a very quick example of that would be if you were to share a blog post and then you say, to learn more or to know how to get more in-depth information, click this link and I'll send you a PDF, or you will receive a weekly newsletter. Or, for some people, it's one of those where you have a post, Nike's really famous for this, where they may have a post of someone getting ready to work out. And the call to action that's visually presented is just do it, put on those shoes and get working out. Just do it. Hammer down, get your grit on and get to work. And the third thing that I see on a regular basis and interact with a lot of people in their struggles is that they have the same people engaging but not purchasing. And this is distressing because the people who are engaging, they're your fans, but they could also be like your family members and your friends, people who will actually never buy from you. Or the people who are engaging are people who are likely in your target market, but they're not buying from you. And it can be so frustrating because you can see that they like what you're putting out, they're enjoying it. And the question is, why aren't you buying from me? Like, I don't understand. And this creates a lot of confusion within the person who is posting and the person who's thinking about what to post. And for most people, they're one and the same. So if you're like most people, you're the one who thinks about what to post, where to post, what to say, how often to post. It's a lot of work. And even if you give that work to someone else, you still have to give them direction, or at least the copy or the pictures, and let them know what you'd like them to do. So because of this, because people are posting everywhere and hoping that others will kind of like get the message that they're supposed to be buying from these business owners, and because they don't really understand how to use each platform, plus they're not very clear in the intention as to what they're posting and why and what they want people to learn, to know, and to do, and getting the same people who are engaging but not necessarily spreading out to other networks, we get a lot of time wasted on social media where it feels like busy, where it feels like you're productive, but it's actually just busy work. It's nothing that moves your business forward. If anything, it's just another comfort zone in which you can say, here I am, this is what I'm doing to grow my business, and I get to do it from my phone or from my laptop. And as far as I'm concerned, I put in a good day's work. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Because if you insist on going down this path without actually stopping and asking yourself, what am I doing? What am I really doing? And how do I use this in a way that's productive for myself and for my people and for what I'm trying to do? You get to miss out on quite a bit. I mean, you get to miss out on the opportunity to educate and grow a fan base. And this is because your stuff is all over the place and it doesn't have a unified message, and you don't have a call to action that leads people down your marketing or your sales funnel. And truly, this is what social media marketing is all about. It's all about leading your people from one place to the other. So what is your A and what is your B? And if you have your marketing all over the place, your pictures, your posts, if you are sharing, and we'll get into that a little bit more, if you are sharing just personal posts on your Facebook or just business on your Facebook, if you're sharing pictures on your LinkedIn, you could be missing out on an opportunity to educate people on what it is that you do and how you can help them. And you could be missing out on the people who could be signing up to work with you down the line. And this is assuming that you have a marketing funnel in place. And funnel has been thrown all over the place these days, that it has some negative connotations around it. I mean, we're human beings. We don't like to think of ourselves as a cog in a machine. But what you want to do, because this is a business, you want to take people from one place to the other. So, and the best thing to do here is to take people from your social media to your own email list, because this, at least, you have control over. Your email list is yours. So if any one of the platforms decide to shut down, or if they decide that, they're out of business, or they're merging with a different platform that has a different business outlook, then you're not in trouble. You haven't lost thousands of people that you could potentially be doing business with. The other thing you could be missing out on is getting the exact opportunity that you want. So one thing that I've noticed with social media is that the people who are successful are the ones who are very clear on what they're looking for. And what I find is that because of perception and because of fear of how you will look or what people will say, being judged or being rejected, a lot of people hide behind the inspirational quotes and the motivational quotes and pictures and sharing cute things about themselves and their family and friends, but they're not going to come right out and ask for the business. And this is robbing you of the opportunity to connect with someone who actually likes what you're doing and wants to work with you. So the idea here is that a lot of people will use social media with that vain hope that, if I put this out there, hopefully they'll see what I need. Hopefully they'll see what I can do. Hopefully they'll like me. Hopefully out of the blue, I'll get a message that says, hey, I want to work with you. And that does happen, and it can happen. But that should not be where you're putting your entire hope on, because you might as well go take your time and gamble it away, because that's what you're doing. By not being clear and specific and intentional about what you're doing and the kind of things that you're putting out on social media, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to work with incredible people who love what you're putting out and want to know how to get to work with you on a deeper level. And the other thing is, by just spreading your stuff out there and going with the mission that, as long as I'm visible, it doesn't care what I say or what I do. As long as someone Googles my name, they'll just see that I'm all over the place. Well, you're not utilizing each platform's features as intended, and you're missing out, because each platform has been carefully created for a specific result. And that's what you want to do, is to lean into the result that the platforms are giving you, so that you can have a better, sorry, there we go. Okay. You can have a better experience with it. Okay. I just got knocked off my game a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay. So what do I mean by each platform is built to highlight, each platform is built for a specific reason? Well, this is something that you sort of know on a superficial level. For example, you know that Facebook, the main intent with Facebook is connection, and it's connection with family and friends, and it's connection on that social interaction level, which means that you'll find that if you share something to do with your business, you may not get as much reach as if you shared what you had for dinner last night. And that's because that's what the platform is created for. And Facebook is a business, so don't be mistaken. If you want to share anything to do with business, they want you to pay for it, and then they'll give you the reach that you're looking for. But there are ways that you can do this without spending money, and I'll share with you the pros and the cons of that, also based on my own personal experience with that. But this is generally how we should understand social media. You want to use the visual platforms to share visuals. And by that, I mean you have platforms like Instagram, you have platforms like Pinterest, the platforms that have been built to showcase pictures, visuals, and videos, really short videos. So, you want to keep it, if you can, under 6 minutes, so that, and it'll really force you to be impacting. It'll force you to be purposeful about the video that you're putting out there. I know on Facebook, there was a campaign that I ran, and I ran it with $0, in which I posted 1.5 minute videos every day. And that brought me a ton of new contacts in my email list. And that's because it was short and sweet. It was short enough that people could, pay attention to it. I also used on visuals. If you're using a visual platform, like Facebook is also a visual platform, but I'll go into more of what it's really intended for, you want to make sure that you want to add words there, because a lot of people will watch but not listen to videos. So you want to make it easy for people. And that's the idea here, is make it real easy for the users of any platform to easily digest your information. So don't be the renegade and do the unconventional thing. If you know that, and I'm telling you this, so now you know that the people who are on Facebook are really just looking for a way to space out. That's the psychological driver for going on Facebook. They're looking for a way to space out, to take that time out from what it is that they need to be doing during their regular business days. It's the way of not feeling like they're missing out. It's the way of feeling connected to family and friends and to the events and the things that are taking place. It's their way of tuning in. So Facebook is the social version of a neighborhood pub or marketplace. That place where someone would physically have stood up and said, you know what, I'm just going to take a walk into the marketplace and see what's going on. So that's what Facebook is for. So you want to provide that information that's snappy, that's catchy. If you are doing any videos, you want to make sure that your videos have the words spelled out for them, just in the event that they don't want to listen, then you're still not losing out on them. For platforms like Instagram, you want to make it visual, 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 visual. You also want to use the business platforms to showcase expertise. And by this, I mean when you go to platforms like LinkedIn, that's the place where you need to be showing that you know what you know. And you do this through videos and through articles and engaging with people on their own posts. Now, there used to be a time for a while there when LinkedIn favored articles, and then they started moving toward infographics, and now they seem to be really pushing on the videos. So, allowing people to upload videos and also to stream videos for themselves. Again, if you have the capability of just adding the script of the video to the actual video, this is helpful, because then people don't have to watch and listen. They can watch and read. And the reason you want to do this is, think about the economic landscape right now. People are tuning into Facebook and LinkedIn and all these other social media platforms, not at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day or during their breaks. Some of them are actually not some, but a really large percentage of people are doing this during their work day, or they're doing this in places like buses, public transport, or even in meetings. Let's be honest. They're doing this in places where they may not be able to listen to your videos or your messages, but they definitely can watch and they can read, because that doesn't involve letting the whole world know what platform they're on at that time. And you want to use the social interaction focused platforms to show your humanity. And that would be where the Facebook comes in. So again, I did mention that there is a push toward more of the connection points. And by that, I mean, if you shared an event that you're hosting, and at the same time you share that you went out for a lovely walk, you will notice that your lovely walk is going to be pushed out to your network farther than the post on the business event is. So what you want to do is get clever and put in a mix of humanity with your business posts. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit, so that you can extend your reach. This is all about knowing how the platform is built, knowing what it's built for, having an intention, and then using your brain to figure out how to creatively put that information out so that you can reach the people that you want to reach. Here are several of the platforms that I use myself. And the idea of putting them all together like this is to show you that your social media presence must be a cohesive whole. That when someone goes to any one of your platforms, they showcase aspects of your business, and they showcase aspects of your business that are all tied in together and that leads to the outcome that you want. As an example, for my Instagram, this is where I keep it visual, and I keep it visual with the pictures. This is where you just have like the calls to actions that have to do with, so for example, as a business coach, for me, it's all about focus and strategy, having a plan, being mindful, and really getting to know yourself so that you can best utilize your God-given gifts and talents, your expertise, your experience to reach the clients who are best for you, whom you will enjoy working with, not the people that, you know, when the phone rings, you're looking at it thinking, oh, great, I have to take this call, crap. No, we want more of the people that are aligned with who you are. So on the Instagram, you will see a lot of these kinds of posts that have to do with pushing on, motivation, resilience, discipline. And once in a while, I will put up a post on something that I am doing. So for example, a webinar or an event or a group challenge, that sort of thing. And always working to keep it visual. For the videos on Instagram, I keep them less than 6 minutes. LinkedIn is 10 minutes, so less than 6 minutes so that you can upload it. And again, if you can add words to that visual, that's awesome. You want to keep it short and sweet. A really good place for such videos are impact videos. So for example, if you are on your way to a conference or a seminar, or if you're in a group of people, you want that energy to come through, because Instagram is really about harnessing energy and getting people to aspire for something else. And that's what the general consensus is, you know, when you're going on Instagram, you're looking at that thing that you want. You're looking at that place where you want to be. So here we have Medium, and I'm highlighting that here for you. This is one of the publications that I use for my posts, as well as Forbes.com and several other major publications. And with these, as you can see, you want to keep your reads based on the topics that you're writing on. You want to make them short and sweet so that people will read them. And you will know that you are doing pretty well with that if you have people who are responding and engaging. And each platform has its own measure of engagement. So for example, with Medium, they will give you claps, right? So if someone reads your article and they love it, they're going to clap for it. And it's interesting how they personalize this on each media. So, you know, this is where I have posts like, how do I find customers? And if you head over to my LinkedIn, which would be here, that's where you find the same kind of posts and also videos and events. So LinkedIn is more of that business platform. So the posts that I share on LinkedIn may differ from publications like Medium, because I'm speaking to different target groups and different levels of comprehension. So that's also something that's really important for you to do, is to figure out who you're speaking with and how much they know about what you're talking about. If you're looking for a corporate client, then the language that you're going to use is going to be significantly different than if you're looking for a consumer. And it's not to say that one understands more than the other, not at all. It's simply language. So it's just a matter of being aware that different people need to hear things in different ways and customizing that information for them so that they can receive them. And the beauty about having different platforms that work for you, and we'll get into that, is that you are able to spread the same message in different ways. So, you know, maybe someone will read an article and not do anything about it because, you know, life went on and they went back from their break. And maybe if they're following me on Instagram, they're going to see a post that's sort of related to the article. And because they take things in visually, they're able to get that message and utilize it in a way that a post could not do. So for what I believe in is repurposing, and this is how you also get to create content, but not waste it and not recreate it. So for example, anything that I do on video, I go ahead and I upload it on my YouTube channel. And that's where you'll find a ton of my YouTube videos. So it doesn't matter if it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, if it's a webinar, it doesn't matter if it's a live event. I take those videos and I upload them on YouTube. And then I create a campaign, because again, we have to be focused and strategic. I create a campaign that's going to help me put those things out. Now, here's something that I want you to know. A lot of times people will have a video, like, so for example, this one, how to monetize your passion, in which it was an interview. I was being interviewed and I asked for permission to download the video on my end. So the lady who was interviewing me uploaded this video on her end and she got thousands of views, right? On my end, when I uploaded this video, you can see here that it says 7 views. And for a lot of people, the mistake that they make is that they just upload their videos and leave it at that. You have to create a campaign to actively push out the work that you've created, because that's the traction that's gained over time. So that if you're looking at any work you've done and you see a significant amount of views, it is possibly not from the one time that you put it out, but the several times that you put it out, or the several ways that you put it out. So this is how we repurpose. This would be on the Facebook end. And what I do here is share the tips and strategies and the pointers. I also share what's happening on the back end, like if I'm having, like what kind of a day I'm having or what I'm doing. And also about my events. Now, I did mention that Facebook is really strongly against the free sharing of business information. So what I do is I make sure that I mix it in really well with the personal side, and then get creative about how you can join or link up or sign up, that sort of thing. So it's not a bad thing when the social media channels do this, because it forces you to get creative, and it forces you to really look at your stuff and ask yourself, what would happen if any one of these platforms shut down on me? Like, would I be able to survive it? What would I do? And what you want, again, is, as much as you are online, is to get your people offline. And for me, I do this through the email lists, and I also do it through speaking and live events, because this is the way that I bring you offline so that we can create relationships that lead to business. And again, this is part of the whole marketing strategy, because social media in itself is just a part of a complete strategy. Now, for yourself, here are some do's and don'ts that I want to get into. And this is based on my experience with myself. It's also based on my experience working with clients. I work with small, medium businesses. I work with solo entrepreneurs. I work with people who are just starting out. And I work with people who've been in business for a while, but they've sort of hit that place where they're not able to get new clients. And they want to look at how to revitalize their marketing strategy. So you need a sound marketing plan. And what do I mean by this? This is what I mean. It's not enough to sit down and say, we're going to start posting on Instagram because that's where our followers are, and then that's it. You need to have a sound marketing plan. Where are you leading your people? What's the agenda here? And very quickly, without getting too deep into it, a marketing plan should come from your revenue goal. So when you look at how much you intend to make for the year, and this is also derived using a formula, then you know that you need to create X amount of campaigns to get the results that you want. Marketing is really how you attract ideal clients to you. Marketing is what brings people to you. It's what gets you known. It's what puts you out there. It's what lets people know who you are, what's different about you, and why they should work with you. And then sales is the transactional process, and that's the difference. So when I say marketing campaign, that word campaign confuses a lot of people. It can sound scary, and it can also be a little bit misleading depending on where you are in your business. And by campaign, what I mean is a start to finish plan for your marketing. What is, so that it can hit an intended purpose. So that it's not enough to just say we're putting up 3 posts a week on social media. It's what are those posts about? Where are they leading to? And what is the intended return on investment? If you don't intend to make money using social media for your business, then do not, just say that you're not using social media marketing. But your marketing efforts should bring you a return on investment. The other thing that's so important is that you need to know who your target market is. If you don't know who your target market is, your marketing plan will fail. Now, if you have several target markets, then you have to treat each one individually. And when I say know your target market, I'm talking about everything there is to know about them. What drives them? What keeps them up at night? What do they want? How do they feel? How do they want to feel? What are they looking for? What are they willing to pay? What do they pay for? Where do they go for solutions? Who is your competitor, and what is it that they offer that will make one go to them and not you? It's knowing your people really, really well so that you can strategize what kind of information to put out, when, where, how, and know that you can anticipate a return on investment by carefully strategizing and placing your content with an intention and a mission. You also need to be consistent and reliable. I've seen one too many people go on strong on social media and then phase out after a couple of months because it is exhausting. It is quite a bit of work. So, that's why it's important to know before you start that you're able to go through with this and to finish this. So, I said that I started out in 2009, and I did try, pretty much any major platform that came up. At that time, I wasn't interested in building my social media presence as much as I was interested in learning firsthand more about the different platforms before I made my choices. And one of the platforms, my earliest platform that I held on to was Twitter. And I held on to that for over 10 years. And, I finally made the decision to shut it down. And it was simply because while it was great, I could automate the posts that went on Twitter. Twitter is about engagement, and a lot of good things happen when you're engaging with people, interacting with them. And I just didn't have that energy and capacity to do that because I was already doing that strongly on a strong front on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So out of all the platforms that I use, I picked 1 or 2 in which I would make a very strong presence in and remain consistent with all the others, but really delve into 1 or 2. And this is all based on a marketing plan. So for example, 2 years ago, my focus was on publications. 2 or 3 years ago, my focus was on publications. And so that's when, I had all these articles written for Forbes.com, all these articles on Medium, guest blogging, showing up on the different podcasts. That was the plan. And so I went hard on that. And how I remained consistent with the other platforms was that I have a scheduling tool, but I also had information that could be repurposed for them. So for example, if I wrote an article, I could then turn it into a video, or I could turn it into many short posts that could then be used on Facebook. You see what I mean? So it's taking one thing and maximizing it, making sure that you're not recreating and sitting down and thinking, okay, let's start from scratch. And because I know my target market so well, I knew that this information would be evergreen. And by that, I mean that maybe the only things that would need to be updated were the offerings in the call to action. Like if I had a free webinar or a download, I would have to periodically go back and review and make sure that that offering was still current. because as I keep growing and learning, I update my information, which means that I'll go in and update the information that I'm providing. And so that would be the only time when I would go in. But for the most part, the information being shared is information that someone starting out will still need to use 5 years from now. And it was as it was relevant 5 years ago. The other thing you want is to not panic and start throwing money on ads without a clear plan. So the thing about advertising dollars, and like many people out there, been there, done that, have tried it, and just a few things to note. So for example, your it may work without this, but what I've experienced with hundreds of people is that if you really want a successful ad, then you need a ton of people that the software can use so that it can better target the people that are right for you. So if you have a Facebook page, for example, and you're using that to create your ads, well, for the most part, the algorithms are going to look for people who like your Facebook page, who are like the people who like your Facebook page. But if you're honest, maybe 80% of those people are not ideal clients. Those are family and friends and people in your network who just like the page to like it. But they're not necessarily the people who will sign up for or buy anything. So, that's a lot of wasted dollars targeting 80% of a population that is frankly of no use to you, not in that regard. So, one of the things to do is if you have a big email list, and by big, I mean, we're talking you have over 500 people, you have 1,000, you have more than that, then you want to use that list to create a lookalike audience for your ads. And this way you're going to have better targeting, because the people who enlisted into your email list are people who are vetted. They've already expressed their interest in what you do by signing up. And so when I say this, I'm not saying go to your platforms and just stick down the contacts and then use that, because again, that is not a representative of the people who will actually buy from you. On social media, people sign up for their own reasons, right? Like they follow you, or they like you, or they request or connect with you for their own reasons, and you have no control over those reasons. But with your email list, you're able to target exactly why people are signing up for what. So when you're creating your ads, you want to use a list that's more representative of the people that you want. And this is the danger in just going and throwing money at ads without understanding who your target market is and the people that you want, or going too broad and then bringing in a whole bunch of people who have nothing to do with what it is that you're doing, and have no interest while we're at it. So instead of doing all that, what we want to do is look at exactly what we should be focusing on and what we should be measuring. When it comes to social media, it's a world of perception. So, people will go to each other's platforms and look at the numbers and say, oh, you just have these many followers, or, oh, wow, this person has X amount of followers. He or she must be very successful. But we know by now that numbers don't mean anything. You can have thousands of people, and you know this from your own experience. You can have thousands of people on any one of your social sites, and not a single one of them is buying. So what use are the thousands of people? If it's for dress up to say, this is the presence that I have, that's great. But I've never been one for that. And I'll tell you this, my focus has always been on using social media marketing to market my business, aka bring in money. And so instead of looking at the numbers, I have always looked at the quality of the people that I'm bringing in, and that has always informed me as to whether my marketing message is hitting with the right audience or not. So what you want to do is start looking at engagement and transactions. A lot of people will stop at engagement. They'll say, well, I have people who are liking, sharing, commenting on my posts, and that's perfect. That's it. That's great. But we want to take it up a step further. We want people to sign in for something. We want people to buy something. We want people to do something that will take them up that funnel of yours so that you can have them closer to buying what they need. And that's what you're selling, right? So when we're talking about engagement, it's not all things are equal. The highest ranking on all sites is a share. And the thing about sharing with the different sites is that they'll honor your sharing or people sharing what you post, because it creates it allows more people to stay on their sites. And that's really what the different platforms are thinking. They want people to stay on their sites. They don't want people to go away. They want them to get everything that they need from their sites. So, when you share within the site, then what you're telling that platform is, hey, this is something of interest. Could we expand it to a bigger network? So likes used to be king, and they stopped being king a while ago because the rules were changed, the algorithms on all the major platforms, because people were simply just liking. So people were liking stuff and moving on. Liking became too easy. In the span of 2 minutes, you could like 15 different posts. All you have to do is like and scroll. There was nothing really there. And it doesn't really tell anyone anything. Your like is sort of like you just passing by and stopping to look into through the window at a store, but that doesn't say anything. It doesn't say whether you're interested in what you saw inside, or if something caught your eye, or if you were bored, or if you're looking at your own reflection. There's absolutely nothing to work with there. So comments reign, and comments started to take over the likes. And the reason being that actually typing something out means that you are spending more than a few seconds, that you've actually read, that you've actually digested what you are looking at. And sharing is king. So when you're looking at your engagement, you want to create content or opportunities in which people can comment and share. Why do people comment and share? People will comment and share because they feel that what you're presenting speaks to their own value system. And by creating content that shares their values, you're giving them an opportunity to share an opinion that they would love to express without them having to express it themselves, pretty much. So what I mean by this is, when you have an article or a post or a visual that really calls to someone, what that person is thinking is, oh my gosh, I love this. This is me, or this is how I feel, or this is what I want. And they'll share it. And by sharing it, it gives them that sense of, I have expressed my opinion. Truth is, they've expressed yours, they've shared yours, but this is what gives them that outlet. And so when you're creating your content, when you're thinking about what you are putting out there, you must think about it in terms of people's psychological needs. What do they need? What do they want? And also, it must be something that they will feel proud to be associated with, right? You can also put stuff that repels and do this intentionally, because you're definitely going to get your comments and shares. And by that, I mean where someone will share and say, this is so disgusting. Does anyone else do this, or know of anyone else who does this? In marketing, they say all attention is good attention. So that's up to you. For me, I'd rather the stuff that people would rather be associated with. And the metric that you're looking for in regards to sharing and engagement is transactions. So in your posts and in the things that you're sharing, you want to make sure you have a strong call to action, which is sign up for this, or buy that, or register for this, or contact me for more, and this is how. And you're going to measure the transactions. So if you had X amount of people who interacted with your social media posts, well, how many of them reached out to you? How many of them bought what you were selling? That's what you want to look at. And then you want to look at the ones that are doing well and really study why they're doing well and what you can get out of it, because you want more of that. So I'm just going to quickly go into how to organize your content. This is a rule of thumb generally across the board. You want a part inspirational or humorous, depending on your business. And it doesn't matter what your business is. Find the humor in it. Find the inspiration in it. It doesn't matter if you sell shoes. Put up pictures of people who are wearing just something. Make it funny. Make it inspirational. You also want a part of it to be instructional or educational, and this is where you show your expertise. Now, when I say expertise, the difference between this and promotional is this. Expertise is not saying, if you need to create a strategy, call me, I'm a business coach. That's promotional. Expertise is where you showcase why people need what you're doing. And you don't have to make it necessarily yours. This is where you can share information that's already been created by other people and other institutions that complement what you do. And this is a really good way of sharing other people's information that also lets people know that you're not just about your own stuff, that you do share other people's information, that you do go to other sources, that you are learning and interacting with others than yourself. And then you need to be promotional, man. And that's one part, promotional. And the promotional part, again, needs to be based on a strategy. So when you look at your year's plan, or even 5-year or 10-year, when you look at your plan, what is it that you need off the shelves? What do you need to sell? And then create your campaigns based on that, and your posts based on that, and the things that you share. Now, when we're looking at the different medium, Twitter is something that you do need to post several times a day, because Twitter is pretty much like outer space, like things happen so fast, so quickly. You may as well be a shooting star. Your post comes and it's gone, and there's very slim chance of people seeing it down the line. So it's continual posting. And that was one of the reasons why I left Twitter, was because people can tell the difference between you posting and an automated post. Regardless of how personal the message is, there's a vibe that just comes out. A lot of scheduling tools won't actually put on the post that they use the scheduling tool. There was a time when, if there was a post by Hootsuite, it would say by Hootsuite, or posted by Meet Edgar or Buffer. But now a lot of scheduling tools will just post. So it sort of looks like you did it. But after a while, someone will be able to look at those 10 posts and figure out that you're not home. And the thing about a platform like Twitter and all other platforms is that if you're not home, nobody's visiting. People need to know you're home. So this is where you want a good mix of scheduled posts, and also allow plenty of room for you to step in and just post your own stuff, and make sure that it fits within a calendar, that you've already decided what you're doing, so that even though it's sporadic and spontaneous, it's still intentional. And that's the word that I'll stress here, is intentional. For Facebook, LinkedIn, you want to post at least once daily or 3 times a week. The reason for this is that longevity is longer on these platforms, so you can post something that will still show up a couple of days later. It's not going to exactly disappear the way it would on a Twitter account or Instagram or any other platform. And these are just key platforms that I'm using here. We obviously have hundreds we can choose from. For platforms like YouTube, you can get away with posting once a week, and other blogging platforms. As long as you're consistent, you can get away with posting once a week. Again, longevity, your posts will still come up, they'll still show. And it is also just conventional that it is expected, like that maybe you would have a post a week. If you're someone who makes multiple posts a week, there you go, do your thing. Just make sure that you're consistent, that you're not posting, 3 posts a week and then for several months nothing, or for 1 month just 1 post a week. You want to train your audience to expect from you. So what can they expect from you? Can they expect to hear daily from you, and from where and how and when? So here with your mix, you want to mix your inspirational, humorous, you want to mix the educational and the promotional. Make sure it's about a third. So when you look at your marketing calendar, you want to make sure that you have a really good mix of these and that it's been put out throughout the days. The best days to post obviously are Tuesday and Thursday if we're doing the educational stuff and the promotional. And for the humorous, inspirational, you're looking at the weekends, and you're also looking at Mondays and Fridays. This is generally when people are just in that sort of mood. You can get away with educational on Monday, or inspiration, or promotional, but depending on your target market, you want to keep those days aside. For the educational, you're looking at business hours, or you're looking at right before people go to work and right when they get home to make your posts. Humorous, inspirational is anytime throughout the day, and also like a Sunday morning, like a time when you know that people are a little bit more laid back than usual. So when they go to scroll on their feed, they're looking for something a little bit lighthearted. And your promotional can be within Tuesday to Thursday or Saturday. And again, before people go to work, after they come home, or during business hours, depending on your target market. So I've covered a lot of information here, and I'd like to thank you for staying with me. We actually took the full hour, which means that we don't have time for your questions and answers. So this is what I'd like for you to do, is to use this link to sign up to speak with me for free for a 30-minute session, and I will answer your questions during our session. If you've looked at this material and you still don't know exactly how to plan out your marketing calendar, or you still don't know which media platform to use for your specific type of business, then this is where the call comes in handy. You need this so that you don't waste your time on social media and have it turn into a comfort zone that doesn't actually have a return on investment. I use social media to sell, and I want you to do the same way too, but to do it in a way that's ethical and that makes you sleep well at night, and that will bring you more of the people you want, not less. And so this call is going to be useful in that I get to answer your questions based on the material that you have sat through, and also what you're currently going through. Even if you're just starting out, or if you've been in the game for a while and now you're looking to spruce up your social media presence, this call will be useful for you in knowing where to go now, like what your next move will be. And because we're in the second quarter, you do have some time to create a really fabulous plan and then put it into action. And so I want you to take advantage of this link so that you can sign up for your free session to speak with me. And what we'll do is we'll listen to your plan, or rather listen to your goals. I'll give you a plan and then show you how I can further support you. We have a couple of spaces available for the next few days, so please take advantage of that. And while we're at that, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me this week for our webinar. And I invite you to look out for the other webinars that are coming up over the next few weeks, and jump in on them as well to get the information that you need to grow your business. I am Julia Katsivo. Thank you for joining me. Have an amazing rest of the day or night.